folks. I am vegan, songwriter and singer. I work also as emergency response specialist carer. I used to work in music industry most of my life, many years of my life, to the point I went quite high in this industry. I had recording contract in America, 3 years recording contract. I lived in America 7 years. Presently I'm in England. But I was also very active as an activist, vegan activist, pro-cruelty-free lifestyle, and activist for children's rights. I was promoting children and animals' rights. In my previous Facebook group, Children Be Safe, that was put down by Facebook, I was very brave and very open in my statements against children, ritual, trafficking, abuse, and pro-animals' rights. I was very open and very clear and very brave, just honest. And they closed my Facebook group, Children Be Safe. They blocked my numerous accounts. YouTube put down my previous YouTube channel with 30,000 subscribers. That's why in my new YouTube channel, present YouTube channel, with about 65,000 subscribers, I restrict myself to mostly publishing music, but you can also find in my YouTube channels special materials dedicated to children and animals' rights, promoting vegan lifestyle. I recommend my song Real. So you will find my vegan records, my activism records in my YouTube and my Rumble channels. My name is Yvonne. Yvonne Shamsan is my popular music nickname in public places. Yvonne Shamsan. I shifted vegetarian approximately 25 years ago. I was a young woman traveling the world. I traveled 30 countries, working in music industry. Also, when the music industry was tricky and wicked, so too many wicked men, too many traffickers, too many psyop psychological operations freaks, and as a young woman I couldn't feel very safe in that environment. I was shifting into care work for special care needing people, vulnerable people, and well, I had 3 years recording contract in America with a record label, Nautilus Records. They released my first album, We Are, and they released a couple of my singles, and we prepared the second and third album to be released.
I remember when I stumbled in the wind. I heard my cry and you raised me up again. But when my strength is gone, how can I carry on when I can't find you? But as the thunder rolls, I burn with you. You whisper through the rain. I'm with you. And as your mercy falls, I raise my hands and praise the God who gives and takes away. And I am praising in this storm, and I will lift my hands, for you are who you are, no matter where I am.
The second and the third albums were ready to be released after 3 years of our cooperation. When they told me, they explicitly expressed that they want to control my freedom of speech, that they can make me concerts, prepare my concerts around the world, make me famous, make me, traveling the world and not worrying about visas, anything, because they have the lawyers, Jewish lawyers, they in the Zionist environment, and they can organize my life like a star. But the requirement was, and I have it documented. I have the messages saved in my files. I exposed it many times. The requirement was put down your Facebook group, just for 6 months, they said at the beginning, my Facebook group Children Be Safe, where I was talking very openly about children trafficking and psychological abuse, ritual abuse, mind control programs in Hollywood and other places. I was promoting animals' rights, and I was speaking very openly and sharing many wonderful activists that I respect very much, so as Joy Carbstrong, so as Ed Earthling, so as wonderful Dr. Neil Bernard, Pradeep Yamadas, and Gary Yurovsky, and many wonderful activists pro animals' rights. I was sharing their movies also in my group Children Be Safe, because I believed when we base our philosophy on ethics to all the helpless creatures that are given to us, and they rely on our mercy, then we can change a lot in this world. Well, my record label required me to put down my Facebook group Children Be Safe, just for 6 months. They said, please don't share your thoughts and feelings with family and friends. Well, I couldn't imagine this. I couldn't imagine being fake with my family and friends. I couldn't imagine being fake with my audience. I couldn't believe I could respect myself enough to produce my music movies and to face the public if I'm fake, if I'm a liar, if I'm a disgraceful liar. So I said there is no such chance. I'll share anything I want to share with my family and friends. I will not put down my group Children Be Safe. In my group Children Be Safe, Pound Foster War, I had wonderful activists exposing child trafficking, like Danny McDonnell, John King. Danny McDonnell was exposing CPS trafficking children. John King was not only producer of one of the producers of the movie Stop the Traffic, exposing children trafficking, but also victim of abuse as a child. I was not going to betray them. And I didn't put down my group Children Be Safe. I was speaking openly, especially that as a singer and as a person who traveled 30 countries in music industry. I could say a lot about it, and as a young woman I experienced the operations of mind control and attempts to break me down into like a wicked industry, into these sex cults and stuff. When I had my recording contract with Nautilus Records, I was repeatedly invited to Illuminati societies, to cults of Baphomet. I believed I don't need such a cult to exist to proceed with my music. I believed I don't need any structures like a cults and like a secret societies. I don't need to be fake to promote my music and to be myself and honest with my audience. So they literally left me homeless. They left me without sources how to live. And because I was not citizen of America, my payments for my recording hours, both vocals, choirs, and movie recording, were growing into thousands of dollars each month. So within 3 years of contract, it was like they owed me approximately $30,000, and they left me homeless because I did not agree for them to control my freedom of speech.
Fast colors and promises. How to be brave? How can I love when I'm afraid to fall? Watching you stand alone, all of my doubts suddenly goes away somehow. Wanna step closer.
They relied diet that I will manage because I have some auntie in America. Well, the auntie wanted also to control my freedom of speech, and when she couldn't, in some place, I was left homeless, and I was literally down the streets of America, mm, literally homeless, um, in a shelter for homeless people. When my record label owed me approximately $30,000, I was in a shelter just because I did not let them to control my freedom of speech. So it's like a story from the movie. Yes, indeed. Um, Apropos my vegan diet, I shifted vegetarian about 25 years ago, but about 10 years ago, I got to know the truth about dairy industry and egg industry. Um, as I said, about 25 years ago, I shifted vegetarian, and I believed that is minimizing in a quite uh, decent manner the harm done to the animals. But about 10 years ago in America, that was 2004, 2003, I got to know that in the dairy industry, the abuse of the animals is absolutely horrendous. I didn't realize this ago when I was vegetarian. I believed that if I buy some small amounts of organic dairy products, organic eggs, that in these organic farms, these animals are being treated humanly, ethically somehow, and they have some kind of life. But I woke up about 10 years ago when I got to know that all these industries, they repeatedly rape these cows brutally. We call it insemination, and we should call it bestiality. It's typical bestiality. So all these people who declare to be Christians or believing in God, Creator, this is actually the crime of bestiality in dairy industry. These cows are brutally raped, inseminated, and they and then even in this horrible and disgraceful environment, they develop the love to their babies, and when their baby comes, they love to lick and be with the baby, and they're absolutely crazy about their baby. Even in this abusive, horrendous environment, they develop a very strong emotions to their babies, and then the babies are being taken away from these cows. Just newborn babies are taken away from these cows, so the humans can drink the milk of the cows. I agree with the doctors, wonderful doctors, who said humans need cow's milk and cow's dairy products just as much as humans need hippopotamus's milk, hippopotamus's dairy products. Uh, we humans need the cow's milk and cow's dairy products the same way as we need zebra's milk, zebra's dairy products, and it's absolutely atrocious. And it's enough to Google, search, is human frugivore? Is human frugivore? So you know that yes, as our primates, we humans are frugivores. It doesn't mean that we should eat only fruits, but it means that fruits should be base of our diet, and we no hell are carnivores. Uh, no way carnivores. It's atrocity. It's atrocity to torture these animals. It's atrocity to rape them. It's atrocity to torment them, imprison them, take away the babies, skin them alive for leather and animal products, clothes and fur. So it's absolutely disgusting, atrocious, and if nobody told it to you, it doesn't mean that this fact does not exist. If nobody told to us that torturing, tormenting, raping, skinning alive these animals is absolutely disgusting, disgraceful, and shaming on humankind, it doesn't mean that this fact does not exist. It's only that you put it under carpet and you hide it and you silence it, but it does not change the fact that we vegans see. So 10 years ago, I got to know the truth, and I was sorry that I got to know the truth so late. I got to know the truth that in dairy industry, these cows are horrendously, awfully abused, inseminated against their will, and then their babies are taken away because cow, the way as a woman, she has a milk when she is pregnant, and after she is pregnant, she has the biggest supplies of milk. Uh, so as a woman who is pregnant and after pregnancy has supplies of milk, the same way cow after pregnancy has the supplies of milk. That's why they rape these cows. They call it nicely insemination. It's bestiality. That's it. And then they take away their babies, and these cows scream and they are horrified, and they are being abused like that on and on every year, inseminated, raped, and having their babies taken away, and raped and having babies taken away, and then they are being brutally killed. And that's the truth about dairy industry. And egg industry is absolutely disgusting. If you see the free range eggs, you can see the chickens in a horrible condition, absolutely. So I said I don't want to participate in it. Soon as I got to know the truth about the dairy and milk industry, the eggs industry, I shifted vegan from day to day. I was requested to make this video by some vegan activists, so I make this video to support other vegan activists. Uh, so.
Won't you hold back my deja vu? Won't you hold back my deja vu, deja vu? I must face the world as I stand, the lie, the fake. I'm so child, won't you trust the wicked game? Won't you hold back my deja vu? Won't you hold back? I am to be brave and true. I must stand strong, not ashamed. You know the man. Wasted all the skates. You're the pity. You know the man.
I was requested to make this record, and why I'm vegan, how difficult it was to shift into vegan diet. Well, to me it took only one day. It didn't take me 2 days, a week of guessing and supposing. It didn't take me a month of preparing myself. I just shifted vegan from day to day, and that was that easy. How old I am? Next year I'm 50-year-old. So yes, so I have my age, and I am 25 years without meat, 10 years strict vegan, and it didn't take me time. The only thing it takes your heart and conscience. That's the only thing. Whether you have heart, conscious, spirit, and some kind of respect to the creator. Most of you say they believe in creator. There are some freaks who try to believe in devil, but it won't work for them for too long time. We know that. So, but if you believe some respect for creator, you cannot find the communication with the respectful creator or higher intelligence when in the depth of your conscious you are atrocious, you're absolutely brutal, you don't have mercy, you don't have aesthetics, ethics, hygiene, you don't have basic mercy and respect. How to find your communication with the highest creator, the highest intelligence, however you call it, because this conversation with the high frequencies, well, I deal also with other things that I won't mention in here, but I definitely did my research when it comes to our vibrations, our energomagnetic biofield, and this communication with the higher mind, higher intelligence. We definitely find when there is no dissonance inside. We need to have harmony inside to find the catharsis, the self-respect, but not like a trance or illusion of self-respect. I'm talking about a frank and honest self-respect. I had near-death experiences during my experiences in music industry when I was trafficked. I was sometimes so exhausted fighting with the mafia of very wicked traffickers that I had near-death experiences. And on the other side, I had an amazing picture that this is the side, the gate that we cross, where we cannot any longer hold on to these illusions about ourselves. There is no longer the illusory world and vision of ourselves, but we reach the point when we cross the borders between this material and spiritual life. We reach the point when we see the truth about ourselves without the hypocrisy and without the illusion that we create every day, hiding things under carpet, silencing the conscious, hiding things under carpet, silencing the conscious and heart. There's amazing realm, there's amazing spiritual dimension, and the thing that I saw in there and experience in my near-death experiences, that everything is uncovered. You cannot lie. Lie does not have a power in spiritual dimension. It doesn't have power anymore. And all these illusions, all these things hidden under carpet, they pop up. This is amazing experience, and it gives a lot to think about. So you find a connection with your conscious and with your heart, because if you don't find it, there will be the day comes when you get a little lost. And it may not be, it may be quite horrendous. After all, most of the Christians and all the people saying they believe in the highest creator or in Christ, they say, do unto the others what you would like to be done unto yourself. How do they refer this to what they do to animals, to these cows in all these farms of torture and rape and horror and terror and taking babies away? How do you refer it to your statements? So definitely it's the most important matter. You can tell me that you are rich, you can tell me that you are famous, you can tell me that you have all the money on all the career you wanted, but to me you cannot change my attitude. You cannot change my attitude, because I will always look at you through the picture of your heart and your ethics and your morals, your decent and humble attitudes. If you don't have respect, if you are so selfish, so egocentric and selfish that you believe that anybody else should be raped and tortured and skinned alive for your goodness, for your unnecessary, totally unnecessary greed, then I can't tell you this sometimes directly, but I believe it's atrocity, and I believe it's deep psychosis and schizophrenia to believe that you deserve that somebody, because animals, they are somebodies, that somebody should be tortured, raped, and skinned alive for your goodness that is not even a goodness, and is some temporary pleasure that you can very easily replace with very delicious vegan.
Won't you hold back my deja vu? And now I'm working through the rotten piece with the truth. We must hear tell.
delicious vegan diet. In vegan diet, you can, you can cook and prepare all the possible products that you knew when you were used to eat meat, because there is such a variety of vegan sausages, of vegan burgers, of vegan meat replacement, like different companies. I like, for example, Beyond Meat. If I want this taste related to the times when I was a child and I was eating meat, if I want this taste, I can reach for the company of Beyond Meat, or this is not a pork sausage. I may reach for such a companies, but I don't have to. I can as well use vegetables and fruits to make a delicious soups and meals and mushrooms, and it's a variety. You can't count the huge variety of absolutely delicious vegan products. Shifting into vegan is not a trouble at all. It's simple as simple can be. As I said, it took me one day to another. Soon as I realized the dairy industry is absolutely atrocious, hideous and shameful, and absolutely horrible and disgusting, uh, abusive to these poor helpless animals. And then I decided, no, I don't want to be there anymore. No more. Next day I was vegan. Next day I was vegan. And then the game starts, the little play starts. You just play. I want this, I want that, I do it this way, that way. I can actually cook today all kind of foods, soups and meals that I used to eat as a child when I used to eat meat, that are vegan but taste like that time ago. So I can make all these meals, all the menu that I used to eat when I used to eat meat, in vegan style, using just some vegan replacements that are very tasty if I want to. I can imagine new kitchen. I can try new kitchen. Actually, I can even take care about my health even better, because I can shift into raw vegan. I am not raw vegan yet. I still have tendencies to cook some vegan soup and to do some vegan cooking, vegan meals. So I'm not raw vegan yet, though I try to be mostly raw, but and organic, but I still can work a lot better on my condition, like shifting totally raw, vegan, fruitarian. I still like cooking sometimes some soups and meals that are that I used to remember as when I was a child, and I can make it in vegan way, all in vegan way, and they're absolutely delicious. The variety is beyond what I can expect. The variety is huge. It's only changing the habit. That's it. That's not a problem. I shouldn't, anybody who has sound mind and a bit of respect shouldn't consider what a problem this is in shifting vegan. She should consider what a problem is to be an merciless, atrocious, brutal human that performs brutality, bestiality on the creatures that are totally helpless. Shifting vegan shouldn't be a problem for you. The problem for you should be being the ruthless, absolutely cruel, disgraceful, and merciless and brutal and bestial human who is torturing the totally helpless beings that are actually very cute. They love to play with us. They love to be friends if we let them be. They love to be friendly. They love to be cute and sweet. They love to entertain us. They love to be very funny and entertaining, the animal creatures. They don't do any harm to humans. If you are, most of them not, unless you speak about some very, very carnivorous and dangerous animals, but still you have too many occasions to avoid such a danger. So I don't see any problem in shifting to vegan. There is no such problem. You just follow your conscience. You just follow your self-respect. That's it. You follow your conscience, you follow your self-respect, and you get there. That's it. You want to respect yourself for who you are, and move on with your spirit with this self-respect. And that's it. If you don't have it, you don't have character. You don't have personality. You don't have power of spirit. And I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for you, because the best you could reach in this life is not your money, it's not your career, it's not your fame. It's who you are as a human being, and in attitude to these totally helpless and silenced creatures. That is this testimony about who you are. not your money, not your fame, not the way how you smile and what illusions you make when you meet me, but the truth about you, how you treat the helpless, these sweet, helpless creatures that cannot protect themselves at all if you have no mercy and no grace and no respect or ethics for them. So asking me, the vegan activist, how it was to shift vegan and what the problems I had. No problems whatsoever. My only problem was that I got to know the truth so late that I didn't get to know it like when I was a little baby or a child, but I got to know it only when 10 years ago, the whole truth about the dairy industry. I was little cheating myself. I thought that in the organic farms, the cows are being treated more humanly. I agree with the doctors who say we need the cow's milk just as much as we need zebra's milk. We need cow's cheese just as much as we need zebra's or elephant's cheese. It's a joke. We as the human frugivores, we are unable to even kill fish with our teeth. Try to one of the heroes who are tormenting the animals, try to kill the fish or the chicken with your teeth and with your nails. You will end up crippled. You will end up with your teeth broken. You will end up with your nails broken, but you won't be able to tear apart the chicken and the fish with your teeth and with your nails. And if you tell me that you are carnivores, you are just, the doctor. I need to tell you, the doctors laugh at you. I lately posted an interview with a doctor who is literally laughing at the people who believe that they are carnivores. So it's just funny. You make yourself funny if you say that you are carnivore, and whatever you say it won't change this opinion within some smart people who have some intellect. You were never created carnivore, and you are not a carnivore human. And if you believe you are, that's a moment of illusion, and you actually make yourself funny in presence of people who have some brains. In my channel you can find some records for animals' rights, my music records and my activist records. I don't repeat them on and on. As a person who was always sensitive about what happens to animals, I will always support vegan activists. I will always support wonderful people such as Jack Armstrong, Ed Earthling, and Yamadas, or Neil Bernard, wonderful doctor, and wonderful doctors, vegan doctors. I was amazed lately, a couple of months ago, when I saw for the first time the movie how the doctor, it's on the Physicians Committee channel. The Physicians Committee channel, you have interview with the doctor. You can put it in YouTube and find doctor reverses his MS disease as an emergency response care after I survived a lot of trafficking and mind control abuse in music industry. I work as an emergency response specialist care with vulnerable people, and I know that MS disease is one of the worst ever. People can stay in bed for 10 and 20 years of their life and 30 years of their life. They will be suffering, their life will turn into a torture. And while you have a lot of information, if you look for that plant-based raw diet is reversing MS, and you have amazing interview on Physicians Committee channel, that plant-based diet not only reverses cancer, heart disease, and many other diseases, but it's also reversing MS disease, one of the worst, that turns into a torture and horrible pain and struggle. So we have a doctor who was 35 years old approximately when he first was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, and he thought his life ended. And then he turned to a professor and one of his most respected teachers, lecturers and professors of medicine, and he was advised to change his diet, and he went plant-based, raw mostly, plant-based. His MS reversed within a couple of months. A few months later, he was leaving hospital with the diagnosis that there is not a trace of MS in his body. So this is amazing record. There is numerous, countless number of diseases you reverse with a vegan diet because you are not carnivore. That's just as simple as it is. To make it more complicated, it just makes us funny because after all, we all talk about this God we believe and about this do unto the others what you want to be done unto yourself, and that you gain your respect when you are a respectful person. How this is respectful to torture, imprison, torture and rape these cows and take away the babies? You believe you get my respect when you are a respectful person? So tell me how this is respectful to torture and torment and rape and take babies away from these animals and change the life into disaster. How this is respectful? And how could I be honest, tell you that what I see you do is respectful? It's atrocity. It's absolutely incredible what people do to animals, and I will always support the vegan activists. And I was asked today to make a special record about it, so I make a special record about it for them to publish in their page, and I can put it in my page. I can refer plenty of pages related how successful this diet is. Of course, what are problems I experience after being vegan. Uh, for example, I have such a good digestion. I can eat mountains, and this is and I just don't worry about my figure. Sometimes it gets a bit more, sometimes less. But when I was vegetarian, or I was still eating meat long ago, because I came from family when meat was on the table all the time. When I was vegetarian a long time ago, when I was eating meat, controlling the diet wasn't that easy. Was actually, I could sometimes gain too much, and it was bothering me a lot. Since I am vegan, I keep quite slim, I need to tell you, and this is not a problem to me. If you saw how much I ate today before this record, you couldn't believe me. And I'm next year, coming year, I'm 50 years old. Uh, so um, so I couldn't recommend anything better, not only for your body, but also, most of all, for your self-respect and for finding your recovery and your great awakening and your self-respect and good feeling about you when you come to the final days, like every one of us comes to these days. And believe me, it really was so important to notice what you did to all these helpless creatures. To me, to you, believe me, it's so important. You can't underestimate it, how important it was. When you come to the gate of seeing yourself thoroughly, without all this illusion and fakeness and hypocrisy, we all come to this gate that I saw when I had near-death experience. And this gate is mentioned by many people, many people. We all come to this point when all these illusions, all the fakeness, all this hypocrisy, it's all gone. It's all gone. And the only thing that you face is the truth about you, about myself, about you. And believe me, whether you believe or not, though, though, um, the way you treated these helpless creatures was more important than your degrees, than your money, than your fame, than your fortune, than your publicity, than anything else. The way who you really are to those who had no power to protect themselves, who had no power to have voice because their voices were silenced. That's the truth about you on that gate. So
I remember when I stumbled in the wind. I heard my cry, raise me up again. But when my strength is gone, how can I carry on when I can't find you? But as the thunder rolls, I burn you whisper through the rain. I'm with you. As your mercy falls, I raise my hands and praise the God who gives and takes away. And I am praising in this storm, and I will lift my hands, for you are who you are, no matter where I am.
So, yes, I highly recommend vegan diet. Shifting from vegetarian to vegan was to me so hard that it took me just shifting from 1 hour to another hour, and that's it. That's it. All I needed to do was to know the truth about dairy industry and to see 1 second movie what they do in the dairy industry. It was enough to shift vegan immediately. For my self-respect, for my dignity, for my reputation, and for my recovery in spirit and in truth. My self-respect, when I turn to the highest creator, you can call God, you can call highest intelligence. When I turn to my highest mind, highest creator, I wanted to have self-respect and peace of my conscience as much as I can. I am not perfection. I'm still struggling because I feed my cat and the homeless cat behind the door. So I still struggle with it because I rescued a cat in Texas when I lived in Texas. I rescued a cat and I provide for the rescued cat. And this is carnivore. We are not carnivores. The cat is carnivore. And the homeless one. So I mix it with vegan diet and some chicken and fish diet. And I'm really struggling with it. But I talk in my heart to the highest creator. See, if you forgive to a mother who is providing to her children and not to some children in Africa, then you can maybe forgive to me that I provide to this cat that I rescued, and it looks into me like into her all life, her all hope. And the homeless baby that is behind the door and doesn't want to live with anybody, but definitely needs some little food. So they are carnivores, yes they are. But if we follow our biological nature, the nature how we were created as a frugivores, at least as a vegans, because we are herbivores, our digestive system is 10 to 12 times torso, as we know, not like herbivores, not 3 to 6 times torso like carnivores. The acidity of our stomach is 20 times weaker than carnivores. 20 times weaker than carnivores. What does it mean? Our digestive system much longer than carnivores, acidity of the stomach 20 times weaker than carnivores. It means that all these toxins, all this rotten stuff that is decaying in our body because we don't have this speedy digestive system as carnivores to utilize and to throw out all these meats. Meats are very fast decaying foods. Animal products decay very fast, faster than all the plant products. So it's all decaying in the body. And maybe you don't see it today, but I watch plenty people in older age and life people, so we can see what's going on. All these pus and problems with legs blowing and stuff. Our digestive system is just not coping with this unnatural diet that we put into ourselves. It's not coping. It can cope for a while, but then it stops. And I believe the harmony of the spirits and the self-respect. You talk us into all these heroes. Many groups, military groups and other groups, they love to call the name of hero. They love to call the name of hero. Who loves to call the name of hero the most? The one who is missing it the most. Who loves to call themselves the heroes the most? The ones who are missing it the most. So obviously, according to all the old fairy tales and spiritual stories we could ever say, it's not being a hero to torture, rape, and murder some totally helpless creature, to torture somebody who cannot protect themselves. And it's a rule for all the men with brain and manners and class, moral class, is the rule. You don't shoot the back of somebody helpless. It's a moral law and rule of people who have some brain, imagination, class. You don't torture somebody helpless. You don't inseminate, don't rape, don't take away babies, don't torture, don't murder brutally, don't skin alive somebody who is totally helpless, who cannot protect themselves. This is the role of being a hero. The true heroes never accepted torturing somebody totally helpless. Only wicked, liars, murderers, and atrocities accepted such a thing, like torturing, murdering somebody who is totally helpless. So definitely you can't change my mind. You can talk whatever you want to talk, some smart words or some bullshit, but you can't change my mind on what it is being a hero. It's definitely not torturing the helpless creatures. So yes, how hard it was to shift vegan to me. It took me from 1 hour to another. The only thing I needed to know was to know the whole truth about meat and dairy industry. Vegetarian I was much earlier, about 25 years ago. I was already vegetarian, and then 10 years ago I got to know the whole truth about the dairy industry, and that was enough to shift vegan just like that, from 1 hour to another. And it's not any more difficult to you, to anybody who listens to this. It only needs your heart, conscious, moral class, character, and self-respect. Warm cheers. Yvonne Chanson, welcome to my music premieres.
My déjà vu. I tell them to the kids, there's a place you know the best. I tell them to the world, the pain is rough, but the atmosphere is I have died every day waiting for you, darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 8,000 years. I love you for 8,000 years.